Hello, my name is Bill, and today I'm going to show you a better way to make eggplant parmesan without frying. I've always enjoyed eggplant parmesan, and I found the easiest way to make it, and it tastes better. Let's get started. So I have a baking sheet here that I've lined with parchment paper. So basically, when we get this eggplant ready, we're going to get it breaded. We're going to lay it out on the parchment paper. I'm going to throw it in a 375-degree oven, and we'll get to that later. I have here some seasoned Italian breadcrumbs, and for my egg wash I have 3 eggs with about 1/8 of a cup of milk, or half and half, it doesn't matter. So you just want to whisk this together, doesn't have to be great. So I make sure I get it pretty well incorporated, get the yolks all broken up. So basically this is what's going to allow the breadcrumbs to stick to it. This really isn't enough that I need to use a whisk. I can certainly get away with just a fork here. There we go, looks good. I'm going to set that aside. Now it's time to deal with, this is a pretty healthy, nice eggplant. And to cut it up, what I'm going to use is, this is actually a filleting knife. It's a pretty long, thin blade, kind of flexible, because I want to get these fairly thin. So the first thing I got to do before I peel it, got to cut both ends off. And at the top end, you notice I haven't hit any seeds yet, so you can take a pretty big, healthy chunk off that. Bottom, we're going to have all the seeds, so I want to get it kind of cut even. Perfect. Now we're going to peel it. This is my wonderful vegetable peeler. I'm just going to start on one end. The skin of eggplant is kind of tough, so you want to be careful. Now we're just going to bring it down. Sometimes you have to kind of wiggle it to get it going. You can use the old-fashioned way with a knife, doesn't matter. It's one of the harder things to peel. So, making my way through. And if you leave a little chunk of skin on it, nobody's going to care. It's all going to bake real nice. And you want to look for, make sure you don't have a whole lot of bruises or brown spots. Those you can kind of cut out. And just missed a spot here. Okay. Perfect. So that wasn't too bad. Get rid of my junk. So I want to start from the bottom. I'm going to cut, like I said, I want to keep them kind of thin because I'm going to shingle in the pan. I'll show you how to do that. I have to kind of hold the skinny end up so that I'm cutting straight. It's actually a nice looking eggplant. Like I said, it's nice and firm. So by baking instead of frying it, we're really going to have more flavor and a better consistency, and it's not going to be all oily and greasy. Get a whole lot more out of this. This should be simple. Okay. Set that aside. Give a quick little whip to my egg mixture. That's it. So the trick is dry and wet hand. You can get the eggplant in here, make sure it's nice and coated. Take your fork, let it drip a little bit, transfer it to the breadcrumbs. Now I'm going to take my nice dry hand, just want to dump some the breadcrumbs on it. Nice and coated. Flip it over, make sure it's nice and coated. Beautiful. And I'll start laying them out on my baking sheet. Another one here. In the egg mix. Nice and coated. Drip a second. Into the breadcrumbs. Load it up. Still haven't got my hands dirty yet. Just keep throwing it on top. Make sure it's good and coated. And onto the baking dish. You can place these close together. It's not like cookies that they're going to expand. In fact, they're going to kind of shrink up. But you do want to keep them on the parchment paper so you can flip them. I need to finish these up, and I'll be right back. So we're back. The eggplant went into the oven for 20 minutes at 375. Flipped it 20 more minutes. And as you can see, they're nice and brown on each side. And definitely cooked. So basically what you're doing is you're kind of evaporating some of the water, just like frying kind of displaces the water. So what I want to do now is I want to shingle them in the pan, and this is just a basically a 13 by 9 Pyrex pan. I have a link below if you have no idea what they are, so you can get one from Amazon. And so what I want to do is I just want to take these and just shingle them. Think about how a roof is shingled. I'm not sure how much I have here, so we'll kind of play around, and yes, they are a little toasty, fresh out of the oven. I have some left over, so I can certainly just toss a row in the middle here. So now I have a nice full pan of eggplant. And the other thing is so other than the time you spent preparing it, basically the oven takes the longest. That's 20 minutes plus 20 minutes to get them cooked. And then now they're really ready. So all we got to do now is I'm going to pour my favorite pasta sauce on top. Mozzarella cheese on it. It's going to go in the oven for like 40 more minutes. We just want to get the cheese nice and bubbly and make sure everything's heated through and get some of that flavor of the sauce incorporated. So I'm just going to start pouring. And you want to make sure you have enough sauce, because I like to serve it with a side of pasta, which I'll show you when I plate it. So I want to make sure there's enough sauce in here to cover everything. It doesn't have to be drowning in it. It just needs to be well covered. If you really want to be a great host, you can take a few peeled shrimp and lay them in the middle there instead of that extra row of eggplant. Cook some shrimp in there. That's a nice little surprise time. You have some really good shrimp. Make a little shrimp parmesan in the middle of it. So I'm still thinking we got just a little more. I'm going to just to get those edges coated. Don't be shy. Tastes so good. So I just got basically 8 ounces of mozzarella cheese. Sometimes if I have some leftover slices of provolone, which I keep in the refrigerator for like sandwiches or other things, you can certainly put that on. Provolone just has a little bit of different flavor to it. There's a little more texture, but mozzarella works great too. cheese off the edge so it doesn't burn up. So now I have this nice pretty dish ready to go in the oven. Like I said, it's going to take about 40 minutes. So the other thing you want to remember is this is something that easily you could have a little salad prepared, but I always like to make sure at least I've got some bread that I can throw in the oven for the last 15 minutes that it's cooking. Let's get this in the oven, get it started, and we'll see you back when it's time to eat. So the eggplant has been in the oven for 40 minutes. As you can see, the cheese has melted, the lovely mozzarella cheese, got a little brown on top. It's just bubbling away. It looks absolutely lovely. On my plate here, I have some fettuccine with a little olive oil and some Italian herbs and some Parmesan Reggiano cheese grated on top. And let's dish this up so you can see how lovely this is and so I can eat it. Nice and steamy out. That's the way eggplant parmesan should look. Absolutely splendid. And of course, I would serve this with a salad, some nice warm bread, and one of my favorites, this Italian wine, is a Barbera Diabla. It is actually, these grapes are, go back like 700 years, very old vineyard grapes that just taste absolutely splendid with this great Italian food. I really hope you enjoy this, and please subscribe, like, and do enjoy it. This is a really easy, simple, luxurious meal. Thank you.